All right, are we ready? You want to pray, Chris?
Yeah. Let us pray. Father, thank you for another day. Thank you for all your many blessings. I ask you continue to be with each of us, this community, this governing body, as we look to you for your strength and guidance. I ask this in your name. Amen.
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 Pledge allegiance
To the
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
liberty,
justice for all.
justice. A little bit off worse than it was last time. All right. It's really, I want to welcome everybody to the city council meeting of May the 19th, 2020. We're still in some uncertain times of how to handle things as far as the virus that's going around and things lifted. And I chose for us to go ahead and continue to do as we've been doing to we kind of see how the numbers do since a few things have opened back up. From an email that I have received earlier this week from the state, that they still think that it has caused an increase in certain areas by things opening. So it's kind of still uncertain about releasing and having public meetings and different things. I mean, I'm ready to get back to the normal meeting because it's going to be so much. We're going to have a 5 or 6 hour meeting, the first meeting, to kind of get caught up on a few things that we need to discuss probably. But I mean, it's not that bad. It's just normal business, day-to-day things, which we're still carrying on business as usual. But there's, different road issues and projects that we need to discuss, and different developments and stuff that we need to discuss. But I kind of want the council's input a little bit. As y'all okay with us going the way we're going, doing the way we're doing until we kind of see how things if they've got a grip on this virus or not, or just kind of need y'all's input on how y'all feel like we need to go forward.
Are you regards to having a meeting in person? Is that what you're talking about, Mayor?
Yeah, I'm going back to our public meetings.
Well, I mean, I guess we'll have to follow this, the county health department. I mean, but I'm like you. I kind of think we all need to get together. Maybe, hopefully, it'd be possible this next time. And then, if we have to jump back to this, I mean, we could do something like that. Would that be
go back to it. I kind of think, that's what the 6 foot rule and the 10 minimum 10 people, that's kind of what I was wondering, if we kind of went back to that part of it, instead of closing it totally, which we've opened City Hall back up pretty much, but still limiting access, people to certain access within distance of people. Any thoughts, Rusty or Anthony?
I'm ready to quit doing this phone stuff. I'm ready to just be in person. That's my opinion. We can stay 6 foot apart and we can hear each other talk. That's my opinion. So whatever you say, we'll do.
You want to, how about for this next coming council meeting, if we take that'll give us another 2 weeks to kind of see how things is going for us, getting a grip on it, and maybe make a decision a day or two before. Well, we need to know by the Thursday before the next meeting in June, the first meeting in June.
That sounds good to me.
Y'all okay with that? I'll reach out to y'all and see what you want to do before I make the decision myself to either be open or by phone. I'll reach out to y'all.
Yes, sir. That sounds good.
Okay. All right. Well, the first item on the agenda tonight is approve the minutes of the May 5th, 2020 council meeting. If y'all have not got no questions or comments on how those minutes are written, I need to ask for a motion to approve.
Mayor, Jimmy had a comment on the meeting.
Okay.
Try to say it again, Jimmy.
Or have any trouble getting far enough apart.
He's saying if we meet in person next time, maybe have it at the theater or somewhere where we can get 6 feet apart.
Yeah, I think that if we do meet, I think we need to make sure that we can keep a distance of at least 6 feet or further apart. And just in having an open meeting, but we need to try to keep the numbers down, I guess, as well, because I don't want to break any violate any of the ordinance or any of the rules that the health departments put out, or the county, or anybody, the governor, or anybody. I don't want to go above what they have asked us to do. And I mean, I feel like I hadn't reached out to see how other cities are having their council meetings, but I think everybody's kind of probably still doing it the way we are. Have you heard anything on that, Angie, from others?
I think a lot of them are doing like teleconference because they don't have the capability of doing Zoom. I think the county commission's been meeting the entire time. They're just 6 feet apart and probably not letting the public come in. The 49 county news guy, I think, has been to most of them, so he could probably elaborate more than anybody.
The county's been meeting in person for a little while. They limited the amount of people coming in the room, but this last time they really didn't limit anybody. Hamilton started meeting 2 meetings ago in person. So.
Yeah, I was in a board meeting this past Sunday, and the members all wore a mask. You know, we all had masks on when we come in there. That might be something, you know, we might want to consider as well. I think we'll go ahead and definitely on that. Like Jimmy said, we'll definitely make sure we maintain that. We'll see what it looks like, you know, before the next meeting try to get with all y'all before that Thursday when the package is passed out, to see if we can come to a way to have it.
Well, Mayor, at a minimum, we could meet over at the civic building rather than in the council chambers, because that gives us a lot more room to spread out.
Yeah, I agree. I just feel like we need to somewhat get back, you know, not necessarily 100% like we were, but maybe where we might can, you know, it's just a lot easier to discuss things and together in a setting than it is over the phone, kind of
Sure.
discussing it. And if that's what y'all want to do, that's what we'll do. I'll reach out to you, see what we look like, see what the numbers look like between now and then, next first meeting in June.
Sounds good to me.
Yes, sir.
All right, anybody got any comments on how the minutes is written?
No, I make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the next item on the agenda is approve accounts payable. I need to, if nobody's got any questions on what the bills is being paid, I need to ask for a motion to pay the bills. Can y'all hear him?
Nope.
Did you understand him, Angie?
He's questioning the Staples order. We've ordered a lot of supplies from Staples. I think our side and the police side, I think the other departments have used them also, because nobody's wanting to go into Walmart and spend a lot of time right now. But we found that Staples are usually cheaper than the prices at Walmart. And the binders you're referring to are they're not normal binders; they're heavy duty binders, and they're higher. It just depends on how many you purchase. Yeah, I don't think they were $30 each. That what you're seeing on this list is not everything. It'll just show the first line of what they purchased. There was something else with it. We can pull those and email them to you.
What did he say?
He said, okay, I'll just pull that entire bill and email it to him. What he's saying and what you're all seeing is the first line of what's been purchased, and it doesn't necessarily show everything that makes up that $115 or whatever it is that he's looking at. So there was probably several things on that one invoice.
Yeah, Angie, what is that? That Bravo food service, and then over there, Ewan and Perry research and sales and rental. What is that? I didn't understand one of those.
Okay, well, the Bravo food service was a tax rebate that we wrote back in September that never cleared the bank. And he called me about it last week. We were not aware that it had never cleared the bank. So we reissued that check and stopped payment on the first one. I'm guessing it's lost in the mail. And the other one, where are you looking? What was it? I don't know. The mayor will have to answer that. I'm not sure what researching sales and rental tax. Do you know?
I feel like that might be something that Mike has asked Greg and them to has questioned Greg and Paul about. Let me see if I looked at that a while ago. I'm trying to think.
Mayor,
Yeah.
was that not when they were asked the questions about what kind of tax it might generate with that incentive agreement on that issue with Mr. Ballard? And we wanted to see whether we needed to address rental, whether that was farm machinery or the type of machinery he was going to sell was going to generate a rental tax, or isn't that what we were concerned with there? Is that what that issue is?
I think what's kind of, I believe that's probably right. But I'm just not used to getting a single bill like that from, I'm sure that's what the question is getting a single bill. It may be just the way they might decide to bill that particular part out, but usually we just get usually the bill's a combined bill of several different things instead of one thing.
Well, I remember, I think we had from them a couple of weeks ago that was rather large, and then this one jumped in there. I didn't know what this one was. I knew that was.
The large one was for the audit.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Kind of, sort of used to getting more than one item on the bill, which I'm not going to have a problem with sending it separate like that. Kind of gives you a better idea with it broke down instead of being one lump sum. But I'm sure that's probably what it is where we had them. I had them do some work trying to find out exactly if there was any sales tax to be collected on selling of used equipment. Trying to determine if there would be tax revenue from that.
Right. I understand.
Because you can't, there's a provision in the code that you can't charge it. Is it sales tax on agricultural equipment? You can't charge it on timber, on forestry type equipment, things like that. So even though the type of equipment it is determines whether or not you can actually charge a sales tax or a rental tax or anything like that on it. And I think that was one of the questions they were asked to answer.
Right. Has anybody else got any other questions on the accounts payable? If not, I need to ask for a motion to pay them.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Which I know we don't have old business, but I kind of had something come up that I want y'all to kind of be kicking around, thinking about a little bit. I don't like gray areas in anything that we do for as a city body on an understanding of how things should be or how things are. I like for it to be cut and dry. I like for it to be straight up and understood, on all parties. We got on our sick time. The employee's sick time. They bill this sick time so many days a year or a month or however how you want to do it. Back in my first administration, they were limited to 30 days sick time. And we increased that to 60 days in case somebody had a major injury or some kind of, health issue that took longer than 30 days, because some of them can take longer than 4 weeks to get over. So we increased it to 60 days. It's a little bit, there's a gray area in there that I want y'all to kind of be thinking about to where we can make sure that it's clear. There's a gray area in there how that sick time can be used. It's a little bit gray to as an understanding as to if it can be used, if those days are, we've never allowed those days to be like somebody retires or whatever. Those days have never been allowed to go with that person, if that lack of term for using the right word. Finding that those days are used for, we need to know if those days are used for sick time only, or if they're allowed for different issues, like if a father's wife's pregnant, and the baby's being born, how much time they're allowed off to be with that new baby and the time to being off. And we need to just kind of make sure that we're all on the same page as how that sick time can be used. There's a difference in personal time and sick time. There's a difference in vacation time and sick time. I just want us to have a clear understanding of how that sick time needs to be allowed to be used. I just want to, like I said, we never allowed it to be carried over or carried with an employee if they wasn't retired. Those days, if they didn't use those sick days, they hadn't been allowed to, so to speak, cash them in. It's like it would be in comp time or anything like that. They were just unused days. In respect to the employee, I think and to us, I think it'd be good if we can have a better understanding of how that sick time can be used.
So what, Mayor, when it was implemented, were there anything wrote up, I guess, through with Todd, stating exactly how it could be used, or it would be, we would have to write it?
That would be something that I was probably going to have to ask Todd to maybe look into, because, when I come in, that we had 30 days. They had 30 days, and the only experience that I've had with it is increased 30 to 60. Now, I hadn't researched to see how it was written before our time, in office, how that was written, that it could be used. Now, I just feel like I don't know, Todd might can elaborate or may have to do a little research on it, but I think we just need to understand how that time can be used and for how long,
Right.
4 weeks, can use up 4 weeks, can use up 6 weeks of it, or whatever, for off or whatever, for whatever reason. If you're not sick, can you use it? And those kind of questions just needs to be answered.
I understand. That's right.
Well, I believe that, Mayor, when that was instituted, I believe we hired a group to actually redo our handbook and address some of those issues. And sick time is defined, and it's not something you can just use just to take vacation. And after a certain period, if I'm not mistaken, there's a provision in there, or there's something in our policy. It sticks in my head that your supervisor can, if you're off more than a day or 2 days or whatever, at some point in time, your supervisor can request a doctor's excuse to prove that you were in fact sick or that you needed to use that sick time.
It's
Whether,
third day.
huh?
It's the third day.
Okay, I knew that I was thinking something stuck in my head about that, after a certain period of time that you're off. Now, if you're using this as a planned issue where you've got a wife, let's say, that's given birth and it's a planned issue, and you know it's coming and you're planning on using it, I really believe that there's some language in there that it's got to be approved by your supervisor or the department head. You can't just, if it's not truly you're the one that's sick, or it's not truly an illness where you have to provide care for someone who qualifies, I think you've got to get it approved. Now, one of the things we can do is we can limit it, specifically limit, because sick time is a benefit, Mayor. It's not something that you've earned. It's a benefit that we allow. So since it's a benefit that we allow, we can limit how it's used. Okay, we don't have to just let it be open-ended. So we can limit how it's used because it's a benefit that we're offering. But we just need to specify that.
Yeah, I think I kind of like if we could, let's see how we've got it in place, how it is now, and see if we might need to clear up a few things or get clarified to where we can have a better understanding of how it can be used.
Well, I'll just say this: I don't necessarily think that sick time. I know a couple of issues that we faced in the past year or so, and I really believe that what we ought to do is not necessarily allow sick time for maternity leave or paternity leave, but actually designate some leave for those instances, but not let you use sick time for it. Unless you're, if for example, you have a child and the child's born and the child's in the hospital, well, you can claim sick time for that. But if it's just everybody's healthy and it's just to stay home and assist in the birth of a child or the first 2 or 3 weeks of a child coming home from the hospital, I think that ought to be addressed in something other than sick time. If that's something we're going to allow, it needs to be designated something besides sick time.
Similar to what we do with bereavement.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we say maternity leave. Okay. And you've got so much that's paid. Now you can take longer than that, but only so much of it is paid. And offer that as a benefit and specifically get away from sick time. Now, like I said, go back to my example. You've got a child that's born and it's born premature and it's in ICU and the mother and father are having to stay there. Well, then that's sick time. That's not maternity leave. That truly is sick time. But mom and dad are both, or mom and child are both home from the hospital. And it's just a matter of taking off to stay home to assist an otherwise healthy child. I don't necessarily think that's sick time. That needs to be designated something else if we're going to allow that, because that gets a little confusing.
Yeah, we need to look at that. We need to look over that. I agree with that. That might be a better way to look at it and handle it in that way. But the key thing too is it needs to be approved by the department head.
Yes.
In that department. Yes. Okay. All right. I want to throw that at you, but maybe we can get back to having normal meetings, and I'll get with y'all prior to the next meeting, see if you want to do it this way or see if we want to try to do a social distance and limit the amount of people or whatever, kind of see what kind of edge we've got on this virus in 2 weeks and see how it looks. If it get on in the 90s, I think it would help and quit being cloudy all the time and damp every now and then. It would help, but I can't argue with it. Bad today in the last weekend. I mean, it's pretty nice, but it's not helping the virus. No.
Right.
If nobody else got anything, I need to ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Yeah.
All right. Well, y'all stay safe till we meet again.
You as well. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/49 County News TV.